Hello, everyone. I'm Aaron Weiss. I'm a pediatric oncologist at Maine Children's Cancer Program at Maine Medical Center in Portland, Maine. And I'm here to talk to you about something that has been going on for the last few years, but to provide an update and talk to you about some just pretty wonderful things I think that have happened since the inception of this idea. This is a Desmoid Tumor Research Foundation funded and supported virtual tumor board. Just a little background of how this came about. As many of you know, there's no standardized approach to upfront progressive or recurrent desmoid tumor management, and so it's really fairly haphazard, and although guidelines have been established, they're not always uniformly followed. Oftentimes, patients and providers will reach out to seek opinions from experts, which could just be that you've seen a few more desmoids than somebody else. Oftentimes that advice is given with very limited information regarding the case. So you're giving advice, but you're not giving it with all the potential information you'd have if it was done in a more formal setting. So the purpose of this was to create an established scientific forum for discussion of complex desmoid tumor cases. These meetings have been taking place quarterly. They're web-based, which now doesn't seem like such a big deal, but pre-COVID, this was not done as frequently, certainly in a setting like this. We have a core of committed subspecialists who participate in our tumor boards, even though we do have representation from a number of them, subspecialists for other fields. We made sure that when this started that we'd have a few people from fields such as radiology, pathology, surgery, and pediatric medical oncology, so that depending on the cases, we'd have the expertise available if questions arose. So the cases are solicited ahead of time. Those can come from, as I mentioned, messages from providers. They could come from patients. They could be emails that are sent to the Desmoid Tumor Research Foundation that are then forwarded to me or Lynn, who helps co-organize this meeting. We provide announcements as well as calendar invites. The presenting site is responsible for providing any of their own radiology or pathology personnel if it's applicable, but it's not required. Although we do have oftentimes radiology and pathology on the call and represented of our own, we do not have them review this ahead of time. And then there are guidelines that are established that are given out ahead so that the presenters understand what the guidelines are, what the ground rules are. This is a referral form that was helped to be put together by Palma de Leo. This was not done initially, but it was really a good idea that we formalize this a little bit more. So there's information ahead of time that we obtain. So some basic patient information, some disease information. We also like to know where the institution and location of that institution is, as well as any type of prior therapy they've had, and then if there's any type of recommendations that were made at their own local tumor board. This meeting is open to any medical personnel, but no patients or families. And although in the beginning it was open to the United States, as when we were starting this, it became pretty apparent that we needed to expand this, and has really been international now for quite some time. I'll show you just how impressively international it's become. For security purposes, we take HIPAA provisions, we remove all the protective health information, and as I mentioned, pre-presentation site instructions to this regard are given to presenters ahead of time. So the mission of the tumor board is that we want to be multidisciplinary, so we try to have all the representative subspecialists involved. We want to be resourceful so that it's something that is useful to the providers that are having their cases presented. We want to make sure it's inclusive and not exclusionary, and I feel like we've been doing that. The fact that we are now more of a global meeting, and collaborative, so that we all work together amongst ourselves as well as the local providers. So this idea came out of a former Desmoid Tumor Research Foundation meeting back in 2017, and it was just a few months later that we actually launched the first tumor board in December 2017. Since that time, we've had 12 tumor boards, and during that time have presented 42 patient cases, which is quite impressive for such a rare disorder. Here's an overview of those cases since the start in 2017. You can see from an age range, we've ranged from 1 to age 65, and although the majority of the cases are younger than 18, We do have a good representation of cases of 18 and over. Sites of disease vary, as you would expect, but because of the nature of people wanting to present more complicated cases, it's not surprising that a fair number of the cases are multifocal. Associated syndromes also are represented, where we have FAP and Gardner syndrome. And I think what we're most proud about, or proud of, is that we have a number of different countries represented. While the United States is the most prevalent, with 28 patient presentations in 15 states, we do have patients that have been presented from England, India, Australia, Iran, Ireland, Italy, the Philippines, Portugal, and New Zealand. And some of these are even most impressive, that they're halfway around the globe. And despite the time when we have this tumor board, they've been able to tune in the middle of the night to present their case. So it's really been a testament to the dedication of a number of providers and people on this call to make this what it's become. So we thought, with something so unique, I myself have gotten emails from other kind of rare diseases about how, this came about, and I've, often tell the story. We think that this is something just unique, and I think the community would benefit from hearing about this in case they want to start something similarly. So we actually submitted this as a letter to the editor in Rare Tumors, and we're just waiting to hear back, and hopefully it'll get accepted. So conclusions, with really the challenge of limited clinical trial and research opportunities for desmoid tumors, rare tumors often lack well-established management strategies, as we discussed. But the virtual tumor board really provides a unique and relatively cost-effective platform to reach more people and provide expert advice in a more formal scientific forum than just email. And as far as we know, this project is the first of its kind and could serve as a model for other rare diseases. So lastly, I just want to acknowledge some really important people. Palma DeLeo has really been instrumental in throughout this. She's been at every meeting, essentially, and has helped develop the pre-presentation form. Also on that form is a section for the recommendations that from our own tumor board, and that's something fairly new, that we give that feedback back to the sites, and that's something that Palma helped put together and we review together before giving that information back, as well as key representation from surgery. Alessandro Ganci's been involved in most of these calls, as well as Bob Benjamin, who is always willing and thankfully able to give his opinion and advice about from his vast experience. Rob Lefkowitz has been invaluable when radiologic questions come up. And Matt Van der Rijn really also has been helpful, particularly on the last call. As an example, we had 3 cases that all involved pathology dilemmas, and thankfully Matt was there to help field that. And then certainly the Desmoid Tumor Research Foundation, who has financially and also just administratively supported this project. And Lynn in particular, who without her, there's no way this would have happened. She's the really organizer behind all of this, and helps really to get all this formatted appropriately and get off seemingly without a hitch. So cannot thank her and the organization enough. If you're interested in participating, Lynn or me can be emailed about any cases that you may have, or certainly to spread the word to others who might be interested in participating. Anyway, thank you for giving me the opportunity to talk about this and kind of what's happened in just the last 3 years. And we're hoping for more cases and be able to provide an update down the road as this continues. Thank you very much.